They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but what about what that old dog can teach you? My next guest, local author and vet, the kind who works with animals, Nick Trout, is a big believer in the healing power of man's best friend and living with what he calls a positive canine philosophy on life. It's a message at the heart of his latest book, The Wonder of Lost Causes, which tells the story of Jasper, a young boy with cystic fibrosis, a rare and life-threatening genetic respiratory disease, and the rescue dog that helps him through it. Trout's also a staff surgeon at the Angel Animal Medical Center in Boston and the author of several other fiction and nonfiction books, including New York Times bestseller, Tell Me Where It Hurts. Nick, it's good to see you again. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So, art imitating life, 11-year-old little Jasper with cystic fibrosis, and the life part being your kid Emily at 20-something.
Yep.
So there's that deep thing they share, yes?
Absolutely, yeah. It was this desire to tap into my experiences watching the struggles of my child growing up. And also
with cystic fibrosis as well.
Yeah. And so instead of, it might have been easier to written about a young girl, but I wanted to tap into the life of a young boy. And also I wanted to tap into the challenge of a parent of a chronically ill child. And like it or not, the majority of caregivers are female, are the moms. And I wanted to give them a voice, or at least attempt to do that, and to convey their selflessness, their bravery, their desire to try and keep their kid in the fight. In this case, cystic fibrosis, because I know about this disease.
And you do it with a single mother, Jasper the son, and this scruffy little dog. I was going to ask you, you've written brilliant fiction and nonfiction. Why did you make that choice not to go the nonfiction route and tell your own story, tell your kid's story?
Because this has been niggling me for years, this desire to air the challenges I've had as a parent. It's write what you know. I know a little bit about parenting. I know a little bit about dogs. But I also, by a twist of fate, carry a mutated gene and know a little about this disease, cystic fibrosis.
But is it easier to do? Well, I guess what I'm getting at is when it's fiction, it's like even if it's only an inch removed from your real life, as opposed to the intimate dealings with what you
I think also there's this ability to cherry pick
That's a great point.
The stories that you want to tell.
I love Jasper thinking he can wordlessly communicate with his dog, sort of a dog whisperer kind of thing. You buy that as somebody who deals with dogs?
Well, I do, because some years ago there was a survey with the American Animal Hospital Association that said 97% of people believe they know what their pet is saying to them. And I'm thinking, it's not much of a stretch to go to this sort of knowing communication without words. This is not a Dr. Dolittle story. This is not a talking animal story. It's really just a play on what we already believe happens with animals.
So do you communicate with all these, animals that you're caring for?
I think on some level, yeah. I definitely engage. It's important for me to engage. It's also important for my clients to see me engage.
Can you tell people what this positive canine philosophy on life is? I love this thing. I can't live it. But what is it that you're describing? It sort of circles through this living in the moment.
Absolutely, because you think about, you and I, we go through a surgery, we go through chemo, whatever. We see something on the other side, an upside to the suffering that we may have to endure. Dogs are stuck in the now. So they are not worried about the future or the past. They're trying to live in the moment. And that crazy, I'm going to enjoy every moment, I'm going to go into the max, is everything a dog can do, and can be conveyed to you and I as this, live for it, enjoy it.
But I've read in interviews, you say your daughter has been able to perfect the same thing. Is that true?
In terms of?
Of that living in the moment kind of thing?
I think she strives for that, and I think we all do.
I assume obviously part of the purpose was to educate the public a little bit about cystic fibrosis.
Absolutely,
correct?
Yes.
What do we not know that we should?
That I think, particularly for these parents of children of chronic disease, that it's a challenge. In this day and age, we all want to be normal. We all want to maximize our potential in life. And that potential is always going to be challenged when it's hard to breathe every day. It's constant hospitalizations. And yet these kids astound me in what they can do. And my daughter has been, she's this source of pride, joy, sadness, frustration, and yet she's this constant lesson from which I'm learning.
Are you learning?
Absolutely.
And are you closer to that positive canine philosophy on life yourself? Are you?
I try for it. I try for it.
What'd your daughter think of the book?
She loves it. Yeah, she loves it.
In preparation for this, I'm reading something for the men who served in the military before you, talking about how incredibly helpful dogs are with veterans with PTSD.
Absolutely.
You're talking about cystic fibrosis. I mean, there is an endless spectrum of things where dogs can help people who are suffering. No?
Yeah, and so, this dog turns out to be a service dog, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. You look at the elderly population for whom animals can be this absolute hub of their lives, into which, anything is possible, and they have this renewed vigor. They meet people, they socialize, because animals can distill life down to the simple emotions from which, we can escape the modern complexities of life. And it's a wonderful thing. You think about, this is simple stuff, but it's, your shared experiences in which you don't have to worry about backstabbing, lies, no prenups. This is the best kind of relationship because it's love without the risk.
Can I tell you how much I love talking to people who love interspecies relationships? And you are at the top of that pantheon. It's great to see you.
Thanks so much.
Your book is terrific.